Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Safe Room, a survival horror game club podcast. I'm Grace, and with me is my co-host, Rose. Hi.
Hello, Mom. Come pick me up. The spooky amusement park.
There was a weird guy there, and I got bitten.
I got bitten, and then some people for the future is trying to tell me stuff.
Yeah. Damn. We played Crow Country this month.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great.
Yes, I also thought it was really good.
Yeah, it's just so, I feel like in terms of like just the scale of ambition and execution on that ambition, this is like one of the best things we've ever played. Like it just does exactly what it sets out to do and does it immaculately. Like I don't think it like cracks my top 5 or anything, but like it just in terms of like, it's just kind of perfect almost. Like it's so well constructed.
Yes, I agree. The devs who made this are super into speedruns.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. There's so many like game mechanics that just have good feel to them. Mm-hmm. Everything feels very like interconnected. Everything coheres together in a way that is super satisfying. It's one of those games where like it has a cheat sheet for speedrunners that has the solution to every problem on it. Mm-hmm. Which I think is fascinating.
Like an official thing that they made?
It's not official. It's a fan-made.
Okay. But yeah, but no, it is clearly kind of designed around, because there's that stuff where like you can get into the central elevator passage, which is like the last thing in the game, by like cracking a puzzle, and then like skip a good portion of the game by doing that, I think.
Can you?
Well, because there's those like in the second layer, this will make more sense once we've explained the game. There's like those tunnels that have the code thing on them, and you can like click on them. You know what I'm talking about? They like lead to the middle because it's like a scaffold around the like circumference of the park. And then there's like these 2 tunnels on each side, which like go to the middle. Right. And I think you can like do something with those codes, but I couldn't figure out how to solve that puzzle. And so I just did the thing I think the game intends you to do, which is like solve the crow puzzle at the very beginning, and then you go down that way. Right. But yeah, but there's also like a ton of stuff about like routing and like thinking, you know, so you could. Yeah, it just is very easy to imagine this being like a game that you would play as a speedrun and work through in that way.
For sure.
Yeah, should we talk about what this game is? What it's about?
Yeah. You play as someone, Mara Forrest.
Yep.
Who presents herself as a detective who is investigating Crow Country, which is an amusement park founded by Edward Crow, who has mysteriously disappeared. Mm-hmm. You get to the park, you find somebody called Arthur Mole. It's a ridiculous name.
He's just
kind of like save him. You bring him to your car, and he just kind of hangs out there. You search for Edward Crow, who is somewhere in Crow Country. Mm-hmm. You come across different people. There's a lawyer named Julie who is there. There is a real police detective who shows up as well. And then a couple of Edward's kind of right-hand men who are also there. And you are uncovering the story of Crow Country and what's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a gold mining operation
Mm-hmm.
brought on by a like magical plant thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that plant mutates people, I think.
Yeah.
The more they harvest for gold, the deeper they go, the more fucked up shit they find. And then these fucked up beings, turns out they're trying to communicate with us about the future. And then at the end of the game, actually, let us back up. You learn early on that there's this girl who got bit. And it was like a big story, and that's why they shut down the park. It turns out you're actually her.
Yeah, and the lawyer is there to like serve, Edward Crow, basically be like, we have a case against you, and we're, so. And then his daughter's also there trying to find him, so everyone's looking for him, but he's like retreated into the depths of the mine. Yeah. So you're actually her, and you're trying to like basically like not even get vengeance ultimately, but just like have a conversation with him about like what happened and why he did what he did.
Yep. He is hidden underground, which you eventually go to, is what we mentioned earlier about the pipes. And then he talks to you about a cure, which can cure everyone. He made enough for all the people who got exposed to this kind of infection, I guess, except for him. There's a big hole, big green hole in the center of where he is, and he's going in so he can see the future.
Yeah. Well, and it turns out these.
Yeah.
Edward called them the roots. They're like these big, long plant-like things, like as you mentioned, but they're made of metal and they have like pure gold on the inside. Right? And they're like antennae for transporting people or some things, a little unclear, from the future to the past. But like basically like as he's mining them, the signal gets distorted because he's like literally cutting off parts of like the reception, and that's like people come through, but the process of doing that like warps them or changes them. Although it's a little ambiguous whether like things in the future are just getting worse or something, or like, is there something on that side that like infects you and then brings you over? And also, is it like Edward fucking with the receptacle thing?
Yeah. And the game basically ends with Edward jumping in and then coming out a huge monster that tries to kill you, because basically he's just like, hey, if I'm going in, if I come out fucked up, kill me. And clearly that happens. Before he dies, he tries to tell you about the future, and your character just goes, I don't give a shit, and then kills you. Or kills Edward Crow, I mean.
Yeah.
And then the game ends with a sick fucking shot of everybody from the game hanging out in front of like the initial decar, and pondering whether
the initial decar.
pondering whether they should take the cure or not, basically.
Yeah.
And it's fucking sick.
It's really good. Yeah. Well, it also like, I mean, it does the Undertale thing, kind of, where it's like all the save points are like fires that you encounter throughout the park. Right. And every time it says, you feel a curious mix of hope and dread, like maybe everything will be okay and maybe it won't. And then it just repeats on the final screen.
Yeah.
It's good. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. There's lots to talk about here. I think this is actually also surprisingly kind of a thematically dense this game, or at least for the scale that it's operating at. It's got some teeth to it, which I really appreciated. I think it's very like there's none of the characters are like especially complicated, but there's like stuff there and they interact in fun ways, and like it feels like when you get that shot of like everyone hanging out at the end, it's like, yeah, those are my guys. You know. It's good. So I don't know. We could start there. There's like a lot of stuff to go over here. Is there anything that like jumped at you playing through? You also, because I finished it literally this morning, and you finished it like in one night a couple weeks ago. So
yeah, I finished it all in one go because I liked how it played so much, and like the art style is so striking. That I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna play this. I'm just gonna play it and finish it. Yeah. It also is pretty short.
Yeah, I think I was 6 hours, a little over.
Yeah, I was about there too.
Yeah.
I did also play it again another go.
Oh damn!
Because each playthrough you get ranked on the playthrough like you do any other survival horror game. And then depending on your level, you like unlock like a bonus item. So if you get like a B, you get a crowbar, so you don't have to like spend resources opening boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
Which makes managing health pickups and stuff a lot easier. But I actually didn't manage to get an A run my second time. It just got fucked up too much.
Damn.
I just kind of stopped with that second one. But I'm curious about getting S rank and all that stuff.
Yeah, it seems like it's a little like I found a guide to it, and it is like you can only heal like a little bit.
I know it's tough.
It's really tough. Yeah, because I did get an A. I got A+, which I think was aided by me like getting all the secrets and stuff.
Right.
And I don't think I died. No, I did die. I died a couple times.
I died a couple times, but it was mostly figuring out like the boundaries of like what combat do I engage with and what don't I engage with.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's very much a game about managing your resources and not picking a fight where you don't need to.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is also hard. Like the dodging is kind of tricky. Like getting past guys. Like I think the way this the game is so good. Just the way in which, okay, first of all, I need to get this out of the way. This is made by the same dev as Snipper Clips. Oh,
which is that Switch launch game where you're like making shapes.
Oh yeah,
and it's like co-op. This is the same developer as that, which is crazy.
Oh yeah, okay. I was like, I don't think I ever played this or anything, but I like saw people talking about it because like there was that period where anything that was on Switch close to launch was like you would get attention, you would get eyes on it.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, it's just the craft of this game is really good, and just the way that the controls are clunky enough, like the controls kind of suck, but in a way that makes sense for the genre, I guess. Because it's not. This could easily be a game where it's like, left trigger, right trigger, everything feels good. I guess like Signalis would come to mind, I guess.
Right, yeah.
But like dodging things is difficult. It's a little finicky. Like aiming is really finicky. There's like a the aim, like there's a bob to it, like so you're not aiming at the same place 100% of the time, because your aim is moving up and down, and so that all creates like this tension where there's friction around lining up your shots and avoiding enemies and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. 100%.
But not in a way that like feels overly like bad to play. It has this internal consistency of like crafting around this like clunkiness, but making sure that it makes sense what the parameters of that are, I guess.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I think that's also like it has. We haven't talked really about how this looks. It's like I think Final Fantasy VII is a pretty key touchstone here, just in terms. I mean, the character models especially, that there's sort of like a toy like action figure quality, and also like everything is on these little almost like bright. I mean, because, it's in an amusement park, right? So it has this, like, bright, plasticky kind of look to it. And everything looks like these little toys. And I think the way that, like, it has this kind of almost, like, bauble quality to it is, like, from that... There's a tactileness to the way it looks that kind of maps over to, like, how it feels to control. Although you can also switch it. I know you can do, like, tank controls. Which is cool. Love an option to have tank controls. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, I think this is... I mean, you brought up Signalis kind of in a different way. I think this is spiritually kind of similar, at least in terms of how it plays, that it's very much like a room and map kind of game. You have a lot more inventory space than in Signalis, so it's not really about inventory management in that way. But it is about like getting to know a space, charting your way through the space, figuring out like, keys and locks and like, the chain of items you need to get to move from one place to the next place, and having all that stuff like locked together. And that's sort of the speedrun appeal that we were talking about earlier, is like doing that super efficiently. But I think it's really pleasurable even playing casually. Right. It has kind of it's not like Dark Souls at all, but it has that like, oh, I'm going back to this area and now I can open this door and I can get back here and go through. And I like the way that, because the park is split into, there's sort of like a Main Street USA type thing. And there's like a undersea world, or like a sea beach theme. There's like a fairy tale themed area of the park, and a like haunted house themed area of the park. And like the way that the game has these like clearly marcated sections that you also move to and move between and move around in interesting ways. So there's a really built up kind of like setup payoff or like setup surprise way to how the game works and how it's layered. It's really nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the setting is really smart, because it is very much like it's a horror theme park, and so you get all of these kind of fun locations, and yeah, it just plays into like this aesthetic of like presenting like a fun horror thing, and then underneath it all is something that is still like fucked up. I just like playing in that space where it's messing around with the location in a way that's because on like one layer it is like fun to walk around like these fake kind of sets and stuff, and the art style definitely plays a part in that as well. So I think it's just a fun space to play in terms of like engaging with the theme park aspect of it, and then like uncovering what is behind the curtain of it all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of like the way. I mean, that it's a cutesy game, and like it remains cutesy. Like it's never not cute, I think. But it does have like it is a survival horror game. It has kind of an edge to it. And I think that like the way that sort of mirrors the park itself, right? Which is this like cute space that also has this like literally underground. People are like mining this like mechanism that people were trying to use to like communicate with us, that was like supposed to be like a bridge to a better possible future. Like people are, destroying that right possibility. And so I think it's like cool that there's sort of there's a psychological or like existential layer to the horror, that is reflected in the way the environment is presented. Right.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, and I just want to talk about the art style real quick as well because like you said, very Final Fantasy VII, but I also feel like very like Lego-ish and and also like kind of claymation-y at points.
Yeah, or like Playmobil, even.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it does a good job, with like noise. Like there's like fog that occasionally comes in, and like everything like ramps up like as like the deeper you get into the game, but there's also like static. There's like different like filters that kind of get used throughout the game. Certain rooms will be like oversaturated with light, on top of like another filter, and sometimes it'll be like fog, sometimes it'll be like glitchy, like video effects and stuff like that. I just think it's really smart about what visual effects it's going to go for in a scene, and it adds so much to just like the atmosphere and like not overdoing it. And I also appreciate it, like there's no like CRT filter options or anything like that. It is like very authored and confident and in like framing certain scenes a certain way, which I really liked about it.
No, it's really cool. And I think this is also something about it. Like it's not a fixed camera game, right? Like you have, you're kind of at an isometric angle, but you can like swivel around the whole room that you're in, Yeah. But that has it gives it this feeling of like looking in on a little toy world, right? Which is really lovely. Like, I don't know. There's such a dark whimsy to this. And I don't mean that in like a Tim Burton way, right? Like it's actually cooler than that. But it has this sort of, it's really cool. But I think that you're right though, that everything feels sort of framed and deliberate, and even the way that you can like interface and look at the environment feels like I love the way that the items you can find like kind of blend in with just like the random stuff that's lying around. And then also you have the thing eventually where you have the like fake items that look a little different and will blow up if you interact with them. And that being like the game is in part like about like identifying what is actually important in the environment and like seeing through the clutter. And I think it's like perfectly sort of arranged and tuned, and then does have a couple moments like that final shot. And then also like her climbing the ladder down to like the deepest layer of the mine, which is great, where it's like this slow, like zoom out shot from her, like climbing down as the music swells and stuff. Which is also like, it has such a great sense of how to pull the visual interest and move it around, and the game is like about that, it's about like learning to look in the right way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I had another. I've got more thoughts. Generally speaking,
I also like just the way it ramps up.
Yeah.
Over time, like the further you progress through the game, the more enemies spawn, and the more just like fucked up looking everything is. Like there's that huge like empty space area that connects to like the lodge area and also the like sea area, and it also is like the first location where you find the elevator
Yeah.
down, and it's like completely empty at first, and then like the further you get into the game, the more like there's writing on the walls show up, and then like just more and more monsters come in as you progress, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And the sound design of the game also is really good. It'll just have like it plays into like the theme park aspect of it, and so like you go into a room the first time and it might play like a playful little jingle, and then like the 10th time you go in there it plays the same thing, but it's just like you just see all these fucking demons trying to chase you around. It's just really nice.
Yeah.
It's really good about like establishing the tone with that stuff.
For sure. Yeah. No, and I think that is like, I mean, I was talking with my friend Sybil about this, who was kind of, I think like before we started playing, it was basically like DMing me being like, you gotta check out Crow Country. And so one of the things that she pulled on was like, there's a nostalgia element to the game, but it's very, I don't know, this is a little flat, but it's critical of it. Like, I love the little beat where because you find out that like Edward Crowe like went to the land because his dad bought it, and he went there as a kid, and that was when they first found like the roots. It's like these little tentacles like wriggling around in the dirt, and so there's like in his office there's an area that he's like siphoned off that has like a little campfire and a tent and like the only root that he hasn't dug into and extracted gold from like sticking out of the ground. And so there's like this little snapshot thing of like this nostalgic moment that is like cheap and fake and also like built out of this like massive system of like destroying what made that thing that moment possible. Right. It's really nice. Like, I think the way that you know, and it's also not, I would describe it as subtle, but it's not super, it's letting you put dots together, you know, it's letting you like kind of understand these things like as they go along. It lets you interpret them, which is, I think, a pretty rare thing, especially like in a video game with a story that is like this direct and simple. Like, it's not especially complicated, right? But it just has a really nice like development to it and sort of a thematic heart to it.
Yeah, and it's not like overbearing about it either.
No.
It could easily be like a Five Nights at Freddy's like bought into its own bullshit kind of thing. And it just kind of is not like that.
No, there's not really lore. Like, there's sort of you learn things, and there's like also kind of some central mysteries, you know, like what does the other world look like? You know, what does it mean to become one of these creatures? You know, I do really like the beat of like when you first walk in the park, there's the like 2106, which is like the year that they're coming from.
I thought that was sick because I thought like, because there's so many like different codes in this game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's one of these games, but the reveal that like you get like a journal entry or something of like somebody being like, these numbers started popping up and it's not like a code to any of the things that we have. Right.
Yeah. I also, this is a little bit lighter, but I love the sensation of like the park being the way it is because it was built by this like super eccentric weirdo man, you know, who like makes his employees do all this weird stuff. And also because he's like hiding things from some of his employees, right? There's like this mining operation that like people don't know about, and that he's like, you know, he's set up like a shell corporation in Brazil at like an abandoned mine to like cover for where his gold is coming from and stuff. I think that like the way that the sort of space of the park again reflects this like fictional thing, but is also so gamey, right? That it feels like it really it feels like this very cohesive kind of holistic thing, you know? That there's a consideration for like, how does this work in a mechanical sense, and how does this make you feel in sort of an emotional or narrative sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like, I love the thing where you go to the crypt and there's like the shotgun pointing at you, but that's just part of the park. This is like a thing in the park, and the shotgun's just a toy. And then you can get a real shotgun later, you know, and stuff. It's,
That puzzle's fun because, like, this game's pretty good about, like, this game has a hint system.
Yeah.
Like, you go to, like, a vendor and, like, you get 10 hints per run, basically. And that part of, like, the amount of hints you use also factors into the rating you get at the end as well. But, like, there's also, like, in-universe, like, tips from, like, park employees.
Yeah.
In the case of, like, kids not understanding the puzzle, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, or even just, like, training documentation that's like, okay, this is what you do when it's, like, someone's birthday in the restaurant, and that's, like, plays into one puzzle, right?
Yeah.
I think that voice is, like, it's really clever. And, it, you know, it's obviously, like, kind of artificial, but, like, I think it does it in a way that's really fun.
Yeah, but that specific puzzle with the shotgun, you could just shoot the clock, and it'll end the puzzle.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
That is like one of the speedrun things, is like, just shoot it. And then there's that monster that shows up after you end the puzzle. And then you can bypass that fight by opening the gate, which will land on the monster.
Oh, yeah.
Which is sick.
Yeah, that's so cute. Like, I think it's just very, and I think that's sort of partially because it has this toy box quality, but also because it's just really tight. Like, you know, this game space is not very large, right? And there's not that many places to go, ultimately, you know, all things told. And so, like, there's just ways that everything kind of collapses and interacts with each other. Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, and it's pretty good about, like, I found an item, where do I go again? And then it'll, like, highlight things on the map.
Yeah, it'll be like, here are places where there are puzzles that you can solve that you haven't yet. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just really smart about making it so you're not looking at a guide online, basically.
Yes, yeah.
Like, everything you kind of need is, like, right there.
Yeah, and there are some puzzles that do take some, like, cross-park kinds of stuff. Like, there's that one secret that's, like, in the storage closet, and there's an octopus on a scale with a keypad, and you have to, like, look at the octopus in the, like, shooting minigame in the SeaWorld. And, like, it has, like, a weight, and you type that in, and then that's what opens the safe in there and gets you a little thing.
Right.
Which I like that there's a sense of, like, things can become important at any time, and you, like, have to have a sense of, like, the whole park, you know, as, like, a, like, entity of its own. Yeah. I'm trying to think if I also just, I mean, I mentioned this already. Yeah, 'cause I'm just looking at my notes, and, like, I literally wrote 2106, like, right at the beginning of the game, because I was like, oh, that's going to be a code. You know? I also think it's, like, a cool kind of thematic thing, and actually this is something that's in, like, I think more fiction that I've read lately, where it's like, oh, like, if you're mining, like, gold in Brazil, like, that's fine, but if you're, like, doing it here, that would be a problem, you know? And part of it is that there is this other layer of, like, well, we're getting it from these weird things, you know, we're getting it from something that, like, the national government, maybe the FBI should know about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we want to, in order for us to get rich off of it, we have to keep that element of it a secret. But there's also just straightforwardly a thing of like, if people knew that like their kids were going to a place where there was like industrial mining happening under their feet, like there would be an uproar, Right. But that can happen somewhere else. Like that can be in Brazil. That's fine. That's chill.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and I think I just like the like world above, world below kind of logic of it. I like that when you unlock the sort of mine stuff and there's all the little rooms with the different routes in them and stuff, but also like that is like a little fast travel that has perils of its own,
Right.
I think that's a really clever little bit of design. I just like I really like Tolman, who's like the security guy.
Mm-hmm.
For Crow, who's just like crotchety and grumpy, always has his arms crossed, and him and Marv, who's like the person who runs the like Shell Corporation in Brazil, like getting spats and stuff. I think that's like kind of the thing is like every character in the game, like you get, it's not a ton of space, but you get like at least one big scene where you really get a sense of like what their deal is.
Right.
And that's such a like nice, thing, it just feels very like it feels very, you get a picture of like, because part of Crow Country is like it's touched all these people's lives, it's affected all of them, and like they're all dealing with it in different ways, and some people are there like Julie, who's the lawyer, and James Harrison or Harrison something is the cop who's just like there because Mara stole his shit. And that like some of it's arbitrary, but some of it is like we have all these connections to it. I don't know. It's nice.
I like that Julie just, as the game progresses, gets herself more and more into just ridiculous situations that are unexplained.
Yeah, she's just getting into trouble, and because there's that one boss that like pops out of the box,
Yes. Yep.
And so I was like, if I open this box, because there's like a box that's like banging around, but Julie's in there, she just got trapped somehow, or like someone pushed her into something.
And then there's that puzzle towards the end where like she disappears and there's like blood.
Yeah,
on, like, where she was, and then like at the end of the game, she just like falls down a pipe into where you guys are.
Yeah,
it's super funny.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
And then you ask her like, how did you get here? And she's like, I don't know, I just kind of blacked out, and I'm here in this pipe.
Yeah,
it's very funny.
Yeah, it's good. Well, I like the beat of Mara like keeping track of everyone, whether they've been injured or not. Like she asked the cop about it, and Natalie I think is injured like when you first enter the park, and you like can give her an antidote to help her out. Mm-hmm. Natalie, that's Edward Crow's daughter, is also looking for him, and like I think you clock pretty quick. I mean, I think as soon as I saw that, like, oh, there's this little girl who like got hurt at the park, I was like, oh, that's us. Like, we're her. For sure. Like, it's, you do kind of have that bit at the end where you can go in the shower and wash off your dyed hair.
Yeah.
Which is cute. But it is mostly like, but I think the sensation of like, the play character knows more than they're letting on, and is like checking in or interfacing with everyone with that knowledge in mind,
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the interactions with Arthur feel especially pointed in this way, where he's like just some schmo who got caught up in this, and so he's like simultaneously she like doesn't want him to go into the park, but also like doesn't want him to like run off and bring other people here. And so she's like constantly like, I'll be back. Like, don't worry about it. Like, just stay in the car. You have your crackers and the windows open, you know? Yeah, it's nice.
I like that you can get the running shoes.
Yeah, the running shoes. It's good. It's like getting the bike in Pokemon. There's also
exactly.
Yeah, did you use like your Magnum at all until the end?
Only like a few times.
Yeah, I like basically saved it. I think I maybe used it once or twice before, but then it was like my sole weapon in the final boss fight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like you get a pistol, there's a shotgun, as you mentioned, there's a flamethrower, and then the Magnum, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice.
And then you can like upgrade those if you like engage with secrets and stuff.
Yeah, you can find little mushroom guys.
And the mushroom guy is always like, I can grant a wish. What do you wish for? And then there's like no response. And then it's like, all right, I guess I'll upgrade your weapon. That's a weird request, but each to their own.
Yeah, it's cute.
There's that one where you have to eat all the mushrooms.
Yeah, that's scary.
That I couldn't figure out until like I saw a guy that's like, you just eat all the mushrooms and just like heal yourself before you eat one of the bad ones. Yeah,
I was actually playing with Sybil, and so they were like trying to remember it, and we're like, oh, I think you just eat all of them and heal. And I was like, okay, well, you got it.
Yeah, because it does set up like there's like those like portraits that tell you which ones are the good ones and the bad ones.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, this is a puzzle, and it's like, no, you just eat all of them. And the guy's like, thank you for dining with me.
Yeah.
And then a mushroom comes out of the mushroom.
Yeah, so true. I think I really like the Witchwood too, where it's a little labyrinth like hedge maze.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's really cool. It's just doing a maze basically. You're just like navigating and like flicking switches that like open different parts of the maze up.
Yeah,
you can only have one at a time.
I like the end of it where like all the lights go out and you're just making your way out of the maze.
Ooh, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Well, and I like that it's also just getting later as the game goes on. I mean, this goes in tandem with like, it gets more fucked up, but then like at the end when you like get the battery and you're going to the crow statue, which is like the last thing to get to the elevator down, it's just dark. It's like nighttime, That's really nice.
Yeah, it's like, as you progress, like you just can't see like more than 2 feet ahead of you.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. I also like, Mara is such a fun protag. I mean, the game has a sense of humor about itself, but in a way that's really not quippy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like, I don't know. But yeah, Mara has like little jokes that she'll make or things that she'll say, I like the way that she personifies the fairy, and then you have to like shoot the fairy to like make the acid rain work or whatever. Some of these puzzles sound silly if you don't know what I mean. And she's like, I'm so sorry, I had to get this thing. I had to get a key. I'm sorry I had to shoot you. And she's like, I'm so selfish. Which is, it's just, I don't know. There's a sense, like, she really feels like a person
I like
interacting with this.
I like the one where she's, you go into the mansion and you find the vampire in the coffin.
Yeah.
And he, like, jump scares you, and she's just like, yeah, he's kind of cute, though. He is kind of cute, though.
Yeah, true. Or like that thing where I think she's like, she sees the billiard table and is like, oh, like, me and my ex used to play billiards, and then he got mad at me for being better than him. There's sort of a human touch to it, you know.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that's leaping out at you here?
I like the arcade games.
Yes,
They're
it's good. The quiz one is so funny because it's like all this slightly out of date information.
Yeah.
So if you're like answering with today's knowledge, then you'll have a hard time. Like
how many planets are there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's the highest grossing movie of all time?
It's like, is it E.T.? I think that's right.
Yeah, E.T. planets are.
That's so wild.
Oh, and then what kind of food should you eat most of?
Yes.
Of each day, and the answer is like bread, cereal, and pasta.
Yes. Maybe times were better when that was what we were supposed to eat the most of.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah. No, I just like it. I think it's like I was just thinking about the thing of it like being a fun space to go to where like he had a fun space as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah. I like that I like the phone calls from him too that you get all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's sort of a menace to them, but there's also something like confessional about it.
Yeah.
There's a nice like interplay. I also think obviously like, well, yeah, it's like grim that he kills the cop so that there's not like an extra person to give the cure to.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like I just think that's kind of like there's sort of he's so controlling over the situation, and that like, I don't know. It's a way of making sure everyone can get away clean, I guess.
Right. I do like that you find the cop, and like of my reaction was like, oh, he's gonna come in and also investigate things, and then just find him in the lounge, just like chilling.
Yeah,
and he's just like, yeah, it's fucked up out there. I don't know what's going on. You seem to have it more together. And then you can also find him. You can also find him underground.
Yeah,
it's like the puzzle where you like have to turn off like the fog leading into one of the last areas.
Right. Yeah.
And he's just like, I figured I could try to do this just to be helpful, and then you solve it, and he's just like, wow, you made it look so easy.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
It was really funny. Yeah. I love it in horror when there's like a useless guy that is there, you know?
Yeah.
Someone who like shows up and dies or shows up and gets stabbed is like classic fun stuff. Oh, excuse me. I think I don't know. Crashing is maybe strong, but I had a cup of coffee this morning and I think it's starting to slow down now.
Yeah, good game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I also like how forgiving it is. Like, there's these like vending machines that like if you're low on a certain type of resource, it'll almost always like just give you that resource.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is nice.
No, it's nice. It has there's a couple difficulty modes as well. I think it.
Yeah.
I think it just feels good. It does have like, I did one time. Did you ever die in the like manor room in the haunted area? Because there's like those books you can pull out.
Oh yeah.
That like kill you. That happened to me, and I lost like 30 minutes of progress or something. But, but yeah, so it has like a survival horror thing, but I think again, it is like, it lets you negotiate with it a little bit in a fun way. But then also like, if you want to like try and get really good at it, that is kind of hard, Yeah.
It also like it feels tight enough to like, if you lose time, it's mostly pretty easy to catch back up to where you were.
For sure. Well, also so much of it's just knowing things. That's like the biggest element of like speed is once you know where stuff is and know how to get it, then you can zoom through stuff.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions?
We do. Pull them up.
Mm-hmm.
This one is from Jack. Of all the Crow Country attractions, which is your favorite? Would you visit a live version of it or simply stick with the virtual horror version?
I don't know. I guess it depends on, maybe I'm taking this question too literally, but it depends on how much I know about Crow Country. Like if it's like the same kind of place and there is like an evil mining operation happening under that, I would not want to go. But if it's just like a cute crow themed theme park, I mean, it is very for kids, I guess, is the other thing though. You know, like, I don't know if I would want to go for me, but I would definitely go with, my, I mean, I don't have a niece or nephew, but something like that. I would do that for sure.
A real life version is not going to be low poly and sick looking, so
so true, so true.
But I like a good haunted manor.
Yeah,
and I like a good like graveyard aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
I always enjoyed going to that area, even though all the enemies that spawn there are so annoying.
Yeah, true. I like the Witchwood in there. We already shouted that out. I'm trying to think.
I like that little lounge area that you can go to save.
Yeah, I like that a lot too.
Especially since you can get the secret map that tells you where all the secrets are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Super cool.
No, it's good. Yeah. Yeah, I think, and I just like a hedge maze. I think a hedge maze is fun. Or like a corn maze.
Mm-hmm.
Classic. Yeah. Have we got another one?
All right, this one is from Faden. What is the first game that truly scared you? I got scared by a Goosebumps game, and it haunted me for years. I don't remember the game, but there was a moss monster attacking me.
In this Goosebumps game?
I guess.
I'm trying to think. I have some.
I have a story for this one.
Oh, hit it.
So when I was a kid, I really wanted a PlayStation 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if I ever told this. I might have. But anyway, I got a PS2 for Christmas, and my dad got me 2 games. He got me Burnout 2, which is a banger of a choice. And he got me Ark the Lad Twilight of the Spirits.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah.
Because he thought it was Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay, you told me that. I don't think you've talked about this on the podcast, but I remember like DMing you when I was like scrolling PS1 ROMs, and I was like, "What's Ark the Lad?" And you were like, "I played that."
And as a kid, I was like, "Of course, that's not Yu-Gi-Oh! What do you mean?" And I look at it now, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's clearly some anime-looking bullshit."
Yeah,
I understand how this happened. But my dad was like, "I'll return it, and you can get something else." I did not know as a child that when you open a game, you can't return it.
Oh, no.
So I was stuck with this game, and it was the first game I really played where it had like cutscenes and like characters who spoke and stuff.
Yeah.
And that just kind of scared me. There was this idea of like characters in a video game having autonomy that freaked me out in a way that was like, these characters just might like come out outside of the game and like try to interact with me.
Yeah, it's like that episode of in season 1 of Next Generation where there's like the gangsters who are trying to get outside of the holodeck. You know what I'm talking about? But it's like an anime boy.
Yeah.
That's really funny. I
also felt this way about like the first Kingdom Hearts, where like there's that part early on where you're trying to find Donald and Goofy, and it's just like a comedy bit where they're like, you go into one room and then they come out of a different room. But to me, like, the idea that things were happening off screen, because all I played up to that point was like Mario Kart and like just like Nintendo stuff. So the idea of things happening like off screen, like characters doing certain things off screen, like broke my brain in a way that it took me a while to comprehend that like this is just like normal programming things that like the games are made like this, and it's like it's not like characters doing their own thing, having their own autonomy, and can scare me on a whim. So
yeah. No, but that makes sense. I think there is like I mean, you were just a kid. Tracks. I feel like I can't remember. I have like very vivid sense memories of certain games like scaring me or freaking me out as like a teenager or as a kid. Like I remember being really freaked out by the ghost bugs in Twilight Princess. Have you played Twilight Princess?
No.
So there's like a desert, dungeon that you go to. Mm-hmm. And in some rooms, like as you walk as like human Link, you'll start to get heavier and heavier. And so when you transform to Wolf Link and like use your Invisisight or whatever that you can do with that, then there's like a bunch of bugs crawling on you. And you have to like, shake them off and stuff. And that always scared me. The idea of like being, crawled on by a bunch of invisible bugs. Didn't like that. I remember playing the like 30-minute BioShock demo on OnLive, which was like, cloud gaming service.
OnLive.
Yeah. And being really freaked out by that, like that when you first like take the submersible to Rapture and you get the like info video of Andrew Ryan talking, and then there's like the splicer outside with the hook hands who's like trying to get in, and then the door just opens and you're like, that really scared me. I also have memories of like watching someone play Minecraft for the first time in like 2010. And them being chased by a creeper and being like legitimately very frightened for them. So, but I don't know what came first. I mean, I imagine like the first thing I had was like a Game Boy Advance, and I played like Golden Sun and like a couple other things on that. But like, I just don't think there was anything on there that would have like scared me. And so by the time I was like playing console games, it was like I was, 14 years old. So it wasn't like, oh shit. And like even PC stuff I played was like a lot of humongous entertainments like Pajama Sam, that sort of thing. And then like Blizzard games and like Star Wars FPSs. Mm-hmm. So just stuff that I don't think really gave me a scare, Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's a pretty comprehensive answer, I guess. But yeah.
All right, we have one more.
Mm-hmm.
from Emeris. What is the most frightening bird in general and in a specific media?
Most frightening bird. You know, I mean, I don't know. I just kind of like birds. I'm not really scared of birds.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that like if you ever like watch talons or think about how strong a talon is, that's kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
So like a bird of prey, I guess. I also think I think this is kind of fun, but it is also kind of scary that like if you've ever looked into like falconry stuff, like one of the things with like you cannot tame falcons. Like they sort of have to believe they're in charge for the relationship to work. And so there's like, I think that's kind of scary, the idea that like you're training with and like interfacing with this like creature that like must believe it is in charge of you, or else like you could be in physical danger. You know? That's kind of scary to me as like conceptually. But I don't know if there's like a bird that I'm like frightened of personally. You know?
I think if I was forced to interact with really any bird in the wild, or if I saw a video of like this owl in this guy's house. Just kept staring at him as he was trying to get him out of the house.
Yeah.
That's just scary.
Yeah, owls are kind of scary.
And there's nothing scary. And of course there's nothing scarier than a thing staring at you.
Right, that's facts, yeah.
And then has the ability to lunge at you at a moment's notice.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, like, an owl, like, especially, like, I mean, there's a reason, you know, that, like, they wear, like, head coverings and, like, have, you know, like, a little foam leather armor stuff when you're, like, a falconer, you know? Like, you can get fucked up. Like, it's no joke. Like, a hawk or, like, a owl's talons could, like, legitimately cause you serious damage, right? Like, they're very strong. So, you know, yeah, so like I agree. I think I would, but it's sort of like, you know, I don't really have nightmares about birds, I guess is what I'm saying. The way that like I do occasionally like have like bad dreams or get scared thinking about. Like the other day, last night I was like waiting at the train station to go home, and like above like they have like a little, you know, plasma screen marquee where they're like listing the train times. And there were like a dozen spiders, probably more, just like hanging out, building webs and stuff. And like, I found that unnerving, you know, in the way that, and also, I mean, they're fine. Like, they're not going to hurt me. Right. But even though I know that, I'm just like, oh, I don't like looking up there and seeing like a bunch of spiders. Whereas like, if I saw a hawk like flying around, I'm not going to be like, oh shit, that hawk might come and get me. You know, like I'm not. It's not really like, oh, I'm ambiently frightened of them in the way that I am. Like, there are certain animals that I am kind of, like, ambiently scared of. Right? You know, but yes, obviously, like, if there was an owl in my apartment, I would be scared. You know? That's scary. My favorite birds are bats, though. I love a bat.
I mean, same thing. If I saw a bat in the wild, I'd be scared.
Really? I love bats.
I know they're like cute, and I get that. I just don't want them. I just don't want to.
Oh yeah.
Fuck
also,
with
like
the bat that's near me.
Yeah, you're not supposed to touch bats. Also, like they could give you diseases.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but like my in-laws a few years ago, I think like 2019 maybe, had like a little tiny hole or sliver like where one of their walls met the attic outside. And a couple years in a row they had bats crawl in and live there. like while they were migrating, so it wasn't even for very long. But they would like sit outside and watch them fly out like at dusk. And watching those bats is literally like top 5 life experiences to me. Like so beautiful, magical. I'm like beaming right now. I hope you can, I don't know how to communicate it through my voice, but it's like so, and like a couple of times when Em and I have gone walking like in the park close to us, bats have flown over and I've always been like super excited. And I love like hearing the little chittering and like, I don't know, they're just so pretty to me. I really love them. But like, I get it. I do understand. Like, yes, like if one flew at your face, you know, like that's scary, and also you could get sick, you know. But I just think they're great. They're pollinators, you guys, and most of them are herbivores. But also, I do like a vampire bat. Also, anyway, you've really brought out my like inner 14-year-old girl goth talking about this. Yeah, that's all I got. Animal related, bird related.
That's all the questions we have.
Yeah. Well,
I'm so Halloween moded.
Hell yeah. I'm excited. I've been I found at a lending library, one of the, you know, little like post box style lending libraries nearby. It's called The Mammoth Book of Vampire Fiction by Women.
Holy shit.
It's edited by a man, which is kind of weird to me. Like, you found 35 women to fill out this book, but you can't find one woman to like edit it and write the little blurbs.
That is some weird Patrick Klepek ass energy right there.
Oh my god, shots fired. Anyway, and so
he's done the look up Dead Island bus giant bomb.
All right,
and you will see him doing this.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm sure he hasn't. This is 2014 ideology. Listen,
right? Yeah.
I understand this, but that is the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, no, understandable. But it has like 35 or so stories in it, so I've started to my plan is to like read one a day through October. Just have a little Halloween vampire treat every day. I read the first one, and it's by Anne Rice, and it was good.
What is the book called again?
It's like the I don't remember if it's mammoth or monster sized book of vampire fiction by women, edited by Stephen Jones, with an introduction by Ingrid Pitt. I don't have it on me. I'm just like listing stuff off.
All right, I found it. Yeah.
Yeah, the Mammoth Book of Vampire Stories by Women.
I've been reading a bunch of comics and
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's got multiple printings. I'm seeing like multiple covers.
You know I'm gonna get on Z Library.
Yeah, check it out. Check it out.
I've been reading a bunch of comics and I keep picking up and putting down Berserk. I'll finish that eventually. I just keep getting distracted by other shit, I guess. But I've been reading. I've been going through all of E.M. Carroll's comics.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just fucking great at doing horror fiction.
Yeah.
I just got my copy of A Ghost in the House, which I have not read yet, but I'm excited to read that one.
Yeah. It's also on, I can send the link to you. It's on archive.org.
The vampire book?
Yeah.
Damn. All right. Sick.
So I'll post that in our chat and you can put it in the description.
Editor's note.
you can't actually download it on archive.org anymore.
Of the podcast episode. People want to check
Taking
it out.
advantage of archive.org while it's still a thing.
Yeah, oh my god!
See what the fuck happens to that. I hate the United States government.
I know.
So
Have you ever like scrolled through like the live music archive on Internet Archive?
No.
It's truly mind-boggling. Like literally like dozens of terabytes of Grateful Dead performances and like a bunch of other stuff, right?
That's so fun.
Worth checking out. Yeah, very cool. But yeah, it's obviously what's happening to them is so awful and like incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry to I don't mean to interrupt your comics talk.
Copyright. No, fuck copyright law.
So true.
That's pretty much it, though.
Yeah.
I have like I'm playing The Quarry right now with some friends.
Oh, sick.
And that's been fun.
Good. Yeah.
Interesting game. It's got Grace Zabriskie in it as every one of these games has a character that like talks to you between chapters.
Oh, and it's her?
And it's her, yeah.
Sick. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's fucking sick. I mean,
that's great.
She is doing the Sarah Palmer thing, but that's why you cast her.
Yeah. Yeah, I have super fond memories of playing Until Dawn with like my college roommates.
Yeah, we might do that one next because these games are pretty short.
Yeah, and it's fun. Like I don't know that I think I probably assigned a little more. I mean, profundity isn't the right word, but I think I thought it was like a little bit more subversive than I would characterize it now. I was like, horror baby at the time, really. But it's fun. Like the basic conceit of it is just really fun.
I'll tell you that I don't like it enough to buy a second version of it that is in 4K.
What? Wait. Is it
They're doing an Until Dawn re-release that's on PS5 and PC.
Right.
Even though I already have the PS4 version and it runs on my PS5.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to upgrade to the new one, I would have to pay full price for it.
Yeah. That's
Video
ridiculous.
games are fucking dumb. What are we doing?
I think this is like the thing is like, I know that these are like, this is like the people we are. And also, I guess I say this like I'm now like 65 hours into Cyberpunk. Like I've spent an ungodly amount of time playing like the most AAA game, and I do like, maybe, anyway, we'll talk about that at some point. I know you put a little bit of time into it.
Yeah, I've been so in a horror mindset that I haven't gone back to it.
Yeah, fair.
But to be fair, like there's stuff coming out that I am excited for, like just like what was that survival horror game that was at the State of Play? I forgot what it was called. Something Spotlight.
Oh, I didn't watch the State of Play, so I couldn't tell you. Yeah, no, there's stuff. I want to check out UFO 50.
But like, in terms of like AAA stuff, I do actually want to play that. But like in terms of like horror stuff, like the Alan Wake DLC is coming out this month.
Right, and then is it Slitterhead? Is that what that's called? That's December?
Yeah, that one.
That looks cool. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Cool too. But also like Silent Hill 2 is gonna come out this month.
Oh yeah, is it this month? God,
it is.
I should try and get someone to pay me to write about that, I guess.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I'm probably gonna play it because I have to know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't want to give it like an official numbered episode, but we could do a bonus about it.
Yeah. It is just one of those games where I'm gonna have a lot to say about it either way, so I'm
yeah, for sure. So may as well get into it.
Um,
Well, I was just gonna say that like there's no like Crow County is better than Star Wars Outlaws.
oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's better than anything that's gonna be boosted on your PlayStation 5, more or less. You know?
Also, like Until Dawn on PS4 looks fantastic.
Yeah.
We don't need, you know.
I mean, that's
like,
kind of.
It's not like you can't already play it on your PS5. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Fix Ape Escape 2. What are you doing? You gotta pay $700 for a new PlayStation, and it's still not gonna play Ape Escape 2 right. What are we doing?
You know, you're spitting right now. Yeah, totally.
It's ridiculous. They put out Astrobot, which has a bunch of old shit and like a bunch of Ape Escape shit, and you can't play Ape Escape 2 on your PS5. It has like graphical glitches on it.
Yeah,
and they haven't fixed it.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, don't apologize. It's good. I was having fun. I was pulling out, I was leaning back and I was pulling popcorn from off screen. So,
they should port Bloodborne though, just for better frame rate. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Yeah.
Or just patch it to boost the frame rate.
I need to fucking play Bloodborne. I've never actually finished it.
Blocking in games. The fact it's just the fact that you can't block is annoying to me.
Right? Yeah.
It's fine. It just feels exhausting to play for me.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I don't know. Bloodborne's interesting because I both think that it's like, I remember when I was playing it, I got through like a good chunk of it a couple of years ago and dropped off for whatever reason. And one of the things that struck me about it at that time was the sense of like, I was like, oh, this is kind of like a reconfigured, like less technical Souls game for like a broader audience. Which is, I know, like a weird take to have about, because that, people are like, Bloodborne's really hard. And it's like also one of the best ones. And also you have the thing with the vials, which is like you do have to go grind for vials, which is like super annoying.
Yeah.
But I think even that, like in Dark Souls 1, there's like a whole subsystem that's about like getting vials. And like, you have to upgrade the vials like by going to this like one person, there's one NPCs in one location, but then also you can upgrade your bonfire, which increases like the number of vials you have. And so there's like a meta game of like, is this area important enough for me to like upgrade this fire a couple times? Because I have like limited amounts of humanity to do that with. And also I need humanity if I want to like engage with multiplayer. Like there's this whole subsystem of stuff that's like about the health system in that game. And then in Bloodborne, it's like there's an item that you can pick up and an item that you can buy that increases your health, right? And there's way less, like you do have like RPG stuff, but there's way less speccing into an individual build. It's way more like weapon based,
Yeah.
Like it's more concentrated, more action gamey than I think most of their output is. Which like for a certain kind of person, that's exactly what you want, right?
Right.
And I don't think I am that person. I think I like the RPG build stuff, and even the like kind of lighter survival horror stuff that like Dark Souls 1 and 2 have.
Yeah. That's a shame because I do like the Bloodborne aesthetic.
Yeah, it's cool. No, I mean, listen, I'm a FromSoft diehard to some degree. Like I don't like, I want to go back and play some of their older output, like check out Armored Core, like both old and new. But I just think I think the Dark Souls games like writ large are some of the most like mechanically, artistically, narratively interesting games that have been released in the last 20 years. Easy. Like, especially at that scale, at the budget that something like Elden Ring is operating at, it's like way more interesting than most stuff that is in that budget. Even though it's got issues, It's too big. It's too long. Okay?
It's too big, it's too long, but you go down a hole and you see the fucking face of Godfrey, Godwin.
Yeah.
And it's fucking, and it's fucked up.
Yeah, or like the the first time you like go down an elevator and you see stars underneath the earth. Like that is like a visual moment that you do not get in Star Wars Outlaws. I don't know why that's the game I'm picking on today, but you know. But yeah, so, you know, so I let him cook. I'm really excited because I don't know if this is like just some PR line, if this will actually bear fruit, but then they were talking about trying to like lift up junior talent and like not do a big IP sequel for a while. Mm-hmm. And I'm just curious what that's going to kick up. I'm excited for whatever they're going to do. And I'll be there. Whatever it is, I want to play it. You know?
Who is FromSoft independent? Who owns them?
I think they are because like Sony published Bloodborne, Bandai Namco published Dark Souls and Elden Ring, and maybe Armored Core also.
Yeah.
And then Activision published Sekiro. So they've like shopped around a little bit. I don't remember who published their like VR project from a few years back.
This seems like one of those studios that's like owned by multiple companies.
Oh, so yeah,
they just have like stake in the.
Yeah. I think does Tencent have some stake in them? Am I making that up or?
They might. It looks like they might.
Yeah, I literally don't know.
But yeah, I don't know. I like the aesthetic of Bloodborne, but I don't like that you have to be aggro all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was kind of cold on Sekiro, I think, for... Like, I just am less... I think I'm more interested in... Like, Sekiro especially is so boss fight heavy. Like, that's really the appeal.
Yeah.
And not that there's not interesting stuff going on outside of the boss fights, but it is, like, kind of concentrated on that. And, like, I like the boss fights in Elden Ring and stuff, but, like, I do also... Like, the exploration element and the dungeon crawling element is, like, the more interesting and important part of the formula for me personally.
It's interesting how much, like, summons have become, like, part of this, like, design. Like, I recently played Lies of P.
Yeah.
And you, like, just like Elden Ring can summon, like, someone to help you with the boss.
Right, yeah.
Like an AI, like, guy. So it's interesting, like, this, like, giving you more tools to make the game a little bit easier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The evolution of that is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think Elden Ring's an interesting case in that because it, especially like at the very beginning, you know, towards the end when you're like fighting the Elden Beast, it's kind of like there's not really places for you to go level up at that point. Like
it's
you kind of do.
Man, the fucking horse thing is so funny.
Yeah, it's very funny. It's true.
Because everybody on Earth is just like, yeah, this seems like it was made with the horse in mind, and
it's not there for some reason.
You can't summon it, and then like a fucking year later, it's just like, hey guys, you can summon the horse now.
Yeah, literally. I forgot. I lost my train of thought. I don't remember what I was going to say.
Something about the Elden Beast?
Oh, you just have, like, space. You can go fuck off and go do a couple dungeons and come back to a problem, you know?
Yeah.
In a way that you can kind of do that in Dark Souls as well, but it's a little bit more, you know, contained. Although, honestly, I kind of wish they would do, like, a Demon Souls structured game. Again, I would like them to do something more linear if they were to do another... Like, and they won't. Because Elden Ring was the biggest fucking game in the world, right? But if they're going to make another Dark Souls game, I would want it to be something that's, like, a little bit tighter. But yeah. We really went off, but I had a great time.
It's almost October. I'm so hyped. There's also gonna be another fucking Southern Reach book out this month.
Oh shit! Really? I didn't know that.
Yes. He's putting out a fourth one. Okay, and that's this month. There's a lot happening in October that I'm personally excited about. That we're in the season of Rose right now.
Yeah, that's right. Season of Rose.
My friend group finished Twin Peaks season 3.
Yeah.
And, it was the perfect lead in the fall. I don't know how we scheduled it like that, but we did.
That's so perfect, yeah.
And watching somebody watched the ending of season 3 and go, fuck this show. and then 2 days later just be like, wow, that was a great show.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you want.
I miss Dougie Jones.
Yeah. Who doesn't? I miss Dougie Jones. I feel like I'm kind of due. I feel like I'm due for a Twin Peaks rewatch, to be honest.
I'm dressing up as Dougie Jones for Halloween.
Yeah, I know you said that. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm trying to think what I've got. I mean, we've got our next game, which we'll talk about in a second. I know that it's my dad's birthday. Maybe I'll say this on microphone so I actually do it. But I've been thinking about making I think my dad would really like Pentiment. Because he's he is a professor and is not, well, I mean, he's like Dante and Shakespeare are kind of his big two guys. So it's early modern, kind of late medieval stuff. I think he would really like it, but there's no way I'm going to get my dad to play a video game. Right. So I was thinking I would record an LP for him so that as a birthday gift, because his birthday's in October. So I might do that. And I'm going to read this vampire book. But yeah, I also have a TV group of friends. The last thing we watched was Looking, which is an HBO show about gay men in San Francisco. That's actually quite good. Would recommend. It's got Jonathan Groff in it. I don't know if that perks people's interest or turns them off. It could be either way, I guess. But I really want to watch Twin Peaks with them, but I don't know if I can swing it. There's me and one other person have watched it before, and I think the other person who's watched it before doesn't really want to do it for some reason. And I don't know if I can turn the tide. And it's fine. Obviously it's fine. We're gonna watch, fun shows. We got a lot of stuff on the docket in theory that we want to do. So, it'll be fine. But I am feeling the itch to watch Twin Peaks again.
I'm doing a movie night for every week in October.
Oh, that's great. That's so cute.
On Tuesday, we're going to watch Cure.
Nice.
Very excited about that. Also, Martyrs is playing at the theater near us.
Ooh.
Which is weird to me, but I guess people more into gore stuff and just stuff in general. I don't know.
Right.
I just don't know.
That's kind of wild, yeah.
I know. I don't know if I can stomach it, but whatever. I'm interested in seeing what that I'm probably not going to go, but I would be interested in seeing what that crowd looks like.
Yeah.
Because in my brain it's one of the smelliest rooms ever, but I don't know.
but you don't know that, there's have you read Men, Women, and Chainsaws? It's this horror, basically film studies psychoanalysis book, and actually it's a medieval scholar who wrote it. But it's kind of a seminal text in horror studies. Anyway, it's worth reading. It's really good. But there is a couple really interesting things about horror demographics that I think have one of the kind of key concerns of the book is basically so many of horror films are about powerful women in some way, or women who ultimately survive or defeat a powerful enemy, right? But the audience, people who go see horror movies are predominantly young men, and so there's sort of it reads a lot into this cross-gender identification. It is a book that is it doesn't ever say the word transgender, and maybe that would be useful context to have when you're talking about this kind of thing. But it's cool. I would recommend it. But yeah, I think it's hard. I think that stuff has become also, I think over time, like as this, like as it's the book that like coined the idea of the final girl. It's a little bit more complicated in how it's written about in the book than it's used in popular culture now. But like the popularization of that idea and like a few other things I think has led to the point where like there are a lot more women who are like invested in horror and go to horror movies than maybe there were. And not that they were never there, of course, you know, but because, you know, Anne Rice is writing these books for women. And there's all these housewives reading Stephen King. It's happening.
That's right.
You know? But yeah. Well,
yeah.
What are we doing next time?
Next time we are
spooky
playing,
period.
We're doing a big one. We're doing Rule of Rose.
That's right. It's Rose's season. It's Rose's rule. Okay. It's your time to shine.
That's right.
But yeah, I'm so excited to play this. Yeah. Yeah, PlayStation 2 cult classic. Yeah, I'm really pumped. I've never played this before. I've wanted to play it for a long time. I'm really glad that we're finally
I'm not expecting it to live up to this, but it is one of those games that's like, oh, it's so fucked up. That
right.
It wasn't released over here or whatever. You know?
Right. Yeah. Well, it was though.
It was just very limited.
Yeah.
I think that is. I think.
Well, I just remember as a teenager, I used to like scroll like Japanese localization publishers, like in the US sites, and just like look at weird RPG games. Mm-hmm. And I have like memories of like looking at the Rule of Rose official site and like clicking on screenshots and being like, what is this weird thing? So yeah.
Yeah. You're excited for this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm like, you can find us online at Podcast Safe Room on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky, RIP co-host at Grace_Machine. It might just be, I don't remember what it is on co-host. It might be Grace something. Grace Machine. If you search Grace Machine, I'm sure it'll all come up. And at my website at gracethemachine.com, and also at my other website, Tier, aka imaginaryenginereview.ghost.io. Rose, where can people find you?
Probably just on our website, spookygame.club.
Yeah.
We have links to our Patreon, where we're gonna cover Night of the Living Dead for pod next month. We'll also do a handheld talk, which Amar's been busy, so we haven't recorded that yet, but that'll come eventually in October. And then I have a new handheld to talk about, so
wow, damn.
Yeah.
Huge.
I'm probably gonna play Rule of Rose on it.
Hell yeah. Great.
And then we have a Discord as well you can join. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I will say, we never say this, but maybe review us on iTunes. Let's go on iTunes, or if you have iTunes, rate us 5 stars, give us a little review.
Yeah. We have a few reviews on there from very nice people.
Yeah, it's very lovely, and we do really appreciate it. So think about it.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it.
Sick.
Yeah, we'll catch you all on the other side for Halloween.